Hi spooky friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. You've probably stumbled upon this video because you're interested to learn about the history of Halloween. So in this video I'm diving into the history of Halloween, dating it all the way back to ancient Ireland, explaining why we love this eerie time of year, tracing its origins all the way back to Samhain, a pagan festival, to the creepy myths that shape it, and delving into how it became a worldwide celebrated holiday. So I've got all the creepy details sorted for you. There will be timestamps down below so you can skip forward where you want to go, and I will also be giving you some tips to celebrate Samhain in a more traditional way. So I want to start off with giving you a little bit of history about myself and how I am obsessed with Halloween. Halloween, or Samhain, is my favourite time of the year. It is my favourite holiday. I enjoy celebrating it, and I always have. I've always loved the spookiness and delving into the more traditional side of Samhain as well. So I've been doing that for a little while now. I am also an Irish native, so I am from Northern Ireland originally, and I do also kind of have ties to where Samhain began. So I thought I would jump on here and give you some history to this holiday and have everything you need in one video. So before Halloween became a night for trick-or-treating and scary costumes, it was Samhain, an ancient Celtic festival which was over 2,000 years ago, and it was celebrated throughout the Celtics. The Celts believed that on the night of the 31st of October, the boundary between the world of the living and the world of the dead were blurred, which would then allow the spirits to walk among us. It wasn't just about the spooky spirits. Samhain is traditionally to mark the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter, which is also known as the dark half of the year. This was like the end of the year and the start of a new year. So people would light bonfires to ward off evil spirits, and they would put out offerings of food and drink to honour their ancestors and the gods and deities. The name Sow-in means summer's end, and it was a time for celebration and fear because the Celts believed that with the spirits came chaos and mischief in the air. So how did Samhain become Halloween that we know today? It was because of Christianity. The church began to introduce more pagan festivals into their own calendar, and by the 8th century, Pope Gregory III moved All Saints' Day to November 1st, which then made October 31st All Hallow Eve, which then became known as Halloween. As Halloween is so big in the US, that is because of Irish and Scottish immigrants, which brought their traditions of Samhain across to the US. And this happened in around the 19th century, and that is where Halloween slowly evolved over time. So they introduced their traditions such as carving turnips, which then later became pumpkins because they were more easily found in the US. And they also brought over dressing in costumes to hide from wandering spirits, and also going door to door asking for food. That would essentially become the practice that we know as trick-or-treating. But Halloween is so filled with myths and legends, so I'm going to break down a couple of the more famous ones. So firstly, there's this black cat myth. It is said that if a black cat crosses your path, it's usually bad luck. And this came from the medieval thought that witches could be turned into cats, which of course isn't true, but that is that superstition that kind of lingers on even in today's world. And then there's the infamous jack-o'-lanterns. So in Irish legend, there is a man called Stingy Jack who tricked the devil and was cursed to roam the earth using only a carved out turnip to light his way around. And then when this tradition made its way over to America, pumpkins were more available than turnips, and so hence why we use pumpkins to carve in today's world. But carving turnips are much scarier. So if you've not seen what a turnip looks like being carved, I will try and put a picture up for you. They are scarier than pumpkins. Aside from dressing up and getting sweets on Halloween, why do we really love it so much? I think it delves deeper into the thrill of being scared. It doesn't have any sense of danger, but you do get that thrilling element of being scared. Halloween is a time for us to explore the unknown, a time to face fears and even laugh at them. And it is a way that people make the macabre more fun. It allows children to explore the darker side of Halloween and getting into the spooky spirit. But it's also a sense of community. It's about coming together. It's about sharing stories and having old traditions. Even if you don't know where they all come from, they do last, and they have been around for such a long time that they have become core traditions. There are so many things to enjoy at Halloween that I think this time of year taps into that primal part of us, that we're just so curious to understand the unknown and also like celebrate life and death, because that is what the traditional Samhain is about. It is about community, bringing together and telling stories, understanding your ancestors, honouring the past and preparing for the dark half of the year. So with that, how do you celebrate Samhain in a more traditional way? If you're interested in delving deeper into the root of Halloween and exploring Samhain's more traditional Celtic roots, here are some tips to really honour the traditions in a more Celtic way. My tip number one would be to honour your ancestors. You can set up a small altar in your home with pictures, candles, offerings of food, something that they enjoy. It's a good way to welcome in the spirits of your loved ones. Another way to do this is I would make food on this day and make extra. So I would have a big Samhain dinner, kind of like a roast dinner sort of thing. And because I am from Ireland, I would usually do like a stew, and I would make more and have a meal for my ancestors. And some people like to leave an empty chair at the table with the food, and that way is a symbol of honouring that ancestor, allowing them to come back into the space and you are looking after them. So I think that's a really lovely way to do that. My tip number two is to light a bonfire or candle. Fire is a cleansing element, so in Samhain rituals, fire is very central to that. If you're outdoors and you're able to, you could light a bonfire, or if you don't have the space, you can also just light a candle in your home, and this way it represents protection and a sense of warmth for the dark half of the year. My tip number three is going to be to feast on more seasonal food. As Samhain is about the summer's end and celebrating the end of the harvest, you can use more seasonal foods. In the UK at least, we can celebrate the harvest by preparing more traditional foods like apples, pumpkins and root vegetables. And some people like to follow the tradition of Samhain very closely and have cider at their feasts as well, because that way you can then toast to the season and starting a new year. And finally, tip number four would be to reflect and set intentions. So Samhain was seen as a time for reflection and the thinning of the veil between the two worlds. So you can take a quiet moment to reflect on the year that's passed. You can set your intentions for the new year, and this is a really good time to do some divination work as well. So if you have tarot, you could do a tarot reading, you can do some scrying with some scrying mirrors, or you can sit and meditate as well. You can also do some divination with talking to your ancestors as a way to kind of honor them as well, but also by setting your intentions for the new year. It is a very good time to do that. So those are my 4 tips for celebrating Samhain, Halloween in a more traditional Celtic way. Some of these things I do myself as well. This year is going to be slightly different for me because I will be across the Atlantic in Canada for Samhain, which is going to be a bit different for me. So I'm going to see if there's a way for me to really honour Samhain in a more Americanized way, because that'll be a new experience for me. So there you have it. This is a quick fire look into the background of Samhain, why we love Halloween, and some tips that you can implement this year as well. So Halloween is about celebrating life and death and everything in between. What is your favorite Halloween tradition? Do you follow any traditional ways of practice? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want some more content like this. I do spooky videos a lot. So happy Samhain, happy Halloween, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!